This week on The Choice.
Doing those new things, I absolutely loved it, and oddly enough, it got my mind off the fact that I was not in the proper shape for this hunt. We definitely weren't ready. We're both bigger guys, and this is just tearing us apart, for sure. Well, tomorrow I'm heading for BC with Brandon, who's downstairs right now. And I've been wearing my boots in.
RJ.
I've been wearing my boots in, and I've packed everything, unpacked it, packed it again, unpacked it. And hopefully it's all there. If not, I'll figure it out.
RJ's journey begins with a sense of anticipation and excitement as he embarks on the first leg of the journey from Colorado to Vancouver. While he's no stranger to travel, this particular adventure holds a different weight. An extraordinary mountain goat hunt that promises to test his limits and skills like never before. As RJ and Brandon take to the skies, the realization of the challenge ahead continues to set in. This isn't just another hunting trip. It's the start of an ambitious adventure that will push RJ to new heights, both literally and figuratively.
We just got here with Robin. He's gonna drive us to the Prestige Lodge somewhere for the night for the hotel, and then we take off again in the morning, and we go to main camp, and then from main camp we go to the mountains.
Excited.
And we're realizing now that we're screwed.
Yeah. Pretty excited?
Yes, sir. Very.
Yeah, what are you hunting for?
Mountain goat.
Oh, yeah.
Flying over, we're like, ooh, we might have wanted to practice or train a little more for this one. we've been training, but whew.
It's not enough.
It's never enough, is it?
No, it is not enough.
That's why I'm nervous, because we're gonna be in something like that. That saddle, be right in there. It's the getting up there part that's. Whew. Here we go.
RJ has come a long way on his journey, but the adventure is far from over. With each mile behind him, anticipation grows for what's still ahead. Now, as he prepares to board a charter plane bound for the remote Maine Lodge, the stakes feel higher and the wilderness even more vast. This leg of travel will take him deeper into the rugged terrain of northern British Columbia, setting the stage for the true test that lies ahead, where the challenge of a lifetime awaits.
Amazing. That was beautiful. That was an incredible flight in.
That was nice.
That was. It wasn't too bumpy. It wasn't too bad. It's actually really smooth.
Now at the Maine Lodge, RJ catches up with Ron, proud owner of North River Outfitting. When it comes to guiding in a remote location like this, you can never be too prepared.
Everything has to be in twos, so I have 2 types of small generators, 2 types of big generators, 2, jet boats sitting here, 2 motors in the big boat.
Yeah, that's a lot of work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can always get old and not have done anything, so I'm old, at least I did something.
Right.
Yeah.
Before the final leg of the journey, which will take place by a 2-seater float plane, RJ makes sure his Browning rifle is still sighted in after all the traveling. For a high-stakes hunt like this with a potentially long-range shot, accuracy is more important than ever. This segment is brought to you by Browning, the best there is. The Choice is brought to you by Bass Pro Cabela's. Your adventure starts here. Alps, exceed your expectations. Browning, the best there is. Cold Steel, anytime, anywhere. Cyclops Lights, get out of the dark. DSC, Conservation, Education, and Advocacy. Easton, made in the U.S. since 1922. Gammo, Adult Precision Air Guns.
This being my first really mountain hunting experience, I've traveled to a bunch of places with my parents before, and I've been very lucky to be able to do that. So kind of flying in on the Beaver and all of these, you have your big plane going down to smaller going into camp, and then leaving camp was my first time going on the little Scout. That was a bit different, just because it's I think they call them one of the ultralights, the ultralight planes, where you take off on the water and you only go so high above the ground, and you just you can see everything. Like in a beaver and an otter and everything else, you can see a lot, but it's not like, you're not just surrounded by essentially windows. It's something I've never done, and I honestly kind of like it a lot.
How you going, guys?
Hey, how you doing?
How you doing? Good. Aaron, RJ, good to meet you. Pleasure to meet you. Whoa, sorry. RJ.
Guytano, nice to meet you, brother.
What was it?
Guytano.
Guytano?
Yeah.
All right, I'll do my best.
Yeah, all good, brother.
So pretty much right off the bat, we get going up the mountain. We cross over a bunch of timber, some open like meadows, cross a little bit of water, go around some kind of cool like boggy lakes, which is kind of cool to see. And we start heading up this mountain, and I mean, within probably the first 2-3 hours, both Brandon and I realized that we should have trained a lot more endurance at least. We're both bigger guys. We both did track and field, I should say, more so the field side than the track side, if you couldn't tell by our very manly figures.
So what we're doing is trying to pick routes to get to these two lakes, and once I've gotten to this elevation, I keep an eye on my watch and I stay on the same contour line so we're not losing altitude. You never want to lose altitude. So we're going to hook around here and drop into these two lakes, hopefully not gain or lose any elevation, and save a little, blood, sweat, and tears to get there. And it's working good so far. We're in the bush, there's no trail, but so far so good.
After hiking for quite a bit, I'm already not doing too hot. Brandon and I are both kind of trying to keep up with everybody else, but we get up to a point where Aaron and Guytano decide that it's going to be where we're going to actually pitch up our camp for a couple-day hunt, where we'll be staying there at night, going and hiking from there around the mountain range, and then coming back for the evening to sleep back in the tents.
So sometimes it's a good idea if you take one meal, then add, like, these are the cheap ones, Mr. Noodles, but I had brown rice pasta, like ramen noodles, and then throw that in with your meal, and then that adds carbs if you've had like a really long day. So that's what we're gonna do for Mr. Cameraman, because he's got to get all bulked up for tomorrow morning.
One thing I didn't understand until this hunt is how important it really is to get calories in, get nutrients into your body, especially when you're hiking the amount that you hike on these kind of hunts.
We had dinner. We got everything kind of ready for tomorrow, other than a few things. We got more water, and I'm ready for bed. It was a long day. It wasn't even a hard day. Tomorrow, I think we're going up that way, going around the saddle, either going dropping across or going that way, or I don't really know, if I'm being honest. But hopefully, after dinner, getting some water in me, tomorrow we're ready to go, because this hunt's more than I was expecting, for sure.
This segment is brought to you by Bass Pro Cabela's. Your adventure starts here. This segment is brought to you by Hoyt. Get serious. Get Hoyt.
Well, Brandon and I are sitting by some trees. I feel bad for the hunter because I'm way too out of shape for this. We definitely weren't ready. We're both bigger guys, and this is just tearing us apart. You can see our original camp where we landed down in the river, but we definitely were not ready. And now it's getting to both of us mentally, for sure. We were both extremely confident coming up here. Like, yeah, we got this, easy peasy. And all we've done was hike from that lake to here in a day and an hour or so, a half a day and an hour. And we're both just spent from these inclines.
After a tough start, RJ takes a moment to recharge and gather his thoughts. Realizing this hunt may come only once, he finds the strength to press on, driven by the determination to see this mountain adventure through to the very end.
One of the really cool things that I was actually excited to experience is walking over like all the shale and all the rocks, because my parents had told me about, their sheep hunts, their experiences in mountain hunts and situations like that, and they've told me how dangerous it is, of course, but also Like being able to be up in the mountains where these just different style of animals live, to experience like the stuff that they walk across on a daily basis is just, it's neat, it's different.
So right now we're just to get to the other side of the ridge. So there's black rock like an all over these rocks. But when it's dry, it's easy to walk over, but when it's wet, you can tell your boots will slide right off. So you just gotta be careful.
I now understand why everybody absolutely hates side hilling, especially on like shale and stuff, because it wears your ankles out. Doing those new things, I absolutely loved it, and oddly enough, it got my mind off the fact that I was not in the proper shape for this hunt. We're probably a good portion of the way up the mountain at this point, but the fog comes rolling in, and we gotta pretty much sit down and wait for this fog to go away, because otherwise we're not gonna be able to see any goats or anything around us. We're waiting for the fog to lift now. And to be honest, it was nice to sit down and get a little snack every probably couple hours or so. We decided to move again. It's windy up here, but the goats could be right over this little ledge here. Down here. We take our time, wait for the fog to lift, come back down, lift again, we would keep moving. And I mean, this entire time we're searching, we don't see much of anything, but we know it's a beautiful area. It's an area that I believe they hadn't hunted in quite a while, so we had pretty high hopes that there was a good group of mountain goats in this area. And what they were telling us is that the goats love to live in these cliff sides, because they get a ton of cover in there, and we're kind of working our way up to the edge. And all of a sudden, we just hear Aron go, RJ, go, 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 or something along those lines, because at that point, my mind just gone. So I'm getting set up right next to Aron, and Brandon's right behind me with the camera. Steve and Guytano are just a hair behind us. They're not kind of coming up just so it's not as many people looking over this edge, because this goat, this Billy, is at 80 yards. I mean, almost getting to the point where you could almost go archery with this one, almost. But the key there was this goat was not like this, the goat was like down. So all I know is Aron saying, that's a good goat, we're gonna shoot it. I'm like, this is day one, and I'm already huffing and puffing, and I'm like, okay. So we get all set up. At this time, again, I mean, my mind is just focused on making the shot. And Aron's like, if you're gonna shoot him now. Because otherwise he's gonna go off this cliff face. Because, I mean, there's not much you can do when it comes to shooting them on these ledges. If they wanna fall, they're pretty much gonna fall no matter where you hit them. I was waiting for him to just take a couple steps. I just wanted a little bit more quartering shot to us. He was facing pretty far away from where I was at. So, he takes a couple steps, stops, kind of looks. Ready? Yep.
Good job.
Yeah, but I'm unloaded. Thank you. I was not ready for this hunt. I can tell you that right now. I don't know what to do. I'm so just beat. I'm so excited. Oh, that worked. Mentally, I haven't even comprehended what just happened. I just shot a mountain goat.
After my shot, I think I could say is probably the only time I've ever been truthfully like not having a single thought go on in my head. Like whatsoever. Like I didn't know what just happened. Like I was still trying to figure out, did this actually just happen? Did I actually just shoot a mountain goat on the first day? And apparently it's a good one.
This segment is brought to you by Easton, made in the U.S. since 1922. The Choice is also brought to you by Hoyt. Get serious. Get Hoyt. Hunter Specialties. Serious hunting tools. Muddy. Serious gear for serious hunters. Spy Point. Connected to your passion. Tracker. Built for love of country. True Timber. Almost real isn't real enough. Traditions. Feel the difference. The Choice is also brought to you by these fine sponsors. After the most physically demanding hike of RJ's life, the team finally comes upon a mountain goat over the edge of a cliff face only 80 yards away. While the steep incline and angle of the goat made for a challenging shot, RJ was prepared for when the moment came.
There's so many emotions right now that I don't know what's going on. If I'm being totally honest. I'm in so much pain. This hunt is not for people that are faint of heart. That is for sure.
Again, I have to thank Guytano, Ron, Marie Nemecheks, everybody, Aron Snyder, all you guys, thank you so much for helping me get to this point, because obviously, as you guys all know, mentally and physically I was not ready for that hunt whatsoever. But now that I'd shot, the real work begins. The goat ended up falling probably 150 plus feet down into this big rock slide that he ended up tumbling down into, got stuck under a rock. Rocks came back over top of him, and I don't know how, but his tips were still perfectly fine. His horns were in great condition. So they ended up bringing the goat down, which was quite chaotic, I would say. But we get this goat down, and I finally get my hands on the horns, and it was probably one of the most rewarding feelings I've ever had.
Well, the guys just got this goat down here, and this sky is beautiful. North River Outfitting, I can't thank you guys enough for letting me come here and take this beautiful goat, as well as all the guys here for all your guys' help. It's crazy. This is only really, we hiked into camp yesterday, but this is kind of day one in a way. It's insane how much effort really goes into this.
At this point, the sun's pretty much gone down. It's a beautiful valley that we were down in, and we need to make our way back because it's getting late.
Good morning. It's already 9 o'clock. Last night was a long night, so we got soaking wet. This morning we're taking a little cooler, I guess, break, and getting all of our clothes dry.
We take the tenderloins out of the bag from my goat and we cook it up there on the mountain. We use some quick ramen packaging to season the meat just a little bit, and we put it over the fire, or we cooked it. Aron started cutting off little pieces and handing it to each of us, and that was divine, absolutely divine.
Well, I just made it back to camp, and I can officially say this is the most demanding hunt I've ever been on. I respect all the other hunts, don't get me wrong, but these mountains tore me apart, and I'm admitting that 100% because I was not ready for this hunt. This hunt is not easy. It's incredible, don't get me wrong. This hunt was incredible, beautiful, but that being able to see all that comes with a cost, and that is definitely getting in shape beforehand. And again, I thought I was, but you can never train enough to be out here because this stuff will tear you apart no matter who you are.
We've been training, but it's not enough.
It's never enough.
No, it's not enough.
I'm ready. I'm not worried about the pack. I'm not worried about anything. I'm just worried about how steep that hill looks compared to what I've been hiking at home. It tore me apart.
You good?
Hi.
Are you sure?
Yeah, that's a lot of hiking. I realize now that the endurance is the more important side of the training rather than the strength.
Right, I'm pretty sure your mom and dad both tried to tell you that. Just saying.
Yeah. But thank you guys, everybody up at NRO, for making this such an incredible time. Guytano, Aron, Steve hunting with us, Maria, Ron, all of you guys up in camp, the entire crew. Thank you, everybody, for just this incredible opportunity to be able to experience this kind of a hunt and see what really goes into these mountain hunts. Because now that I've done it once, while I was there, I was beaten down and I tore myself apart, and I was quite upset with myself if you couldn't tell. But now that I've gotten back, we've been home for a little bit now, reliving all of those moments up there and everything that happened. It makes me want to go back and do it again and prove to myself that I can do it a lot better than what I did.
Yeah. Well, I didn't get to say congratulations to you. You
thank you very
got a
much.
very beautiful mountain goat.
Absolutely, a
Great
gorgeous
shot
goat.
too.
Thank you.
Of course.
He definitely took a little of a tumble,
Yeah,
but
he did. But what are
that's
you gonna do?
part of the
Can't
hunt,
really-
I guess,
yeah.
right? We got super lucky. His horns were still perfect. Everything was like, it was just incredible. It was a beautiful day. Had some fog come in, but
It worked out in the end.
it was.
Yeah.
But thank you guys for making your choice.
The choice.
We'll see you next week.
Closed captions brought to you by Wounded Warrior Outdoors, providing wounded service men and women with therapeutic outdoor adventures.
Got them white boy with them white feet, getting hot.
So what we have here is Frodo's cousin. Hard to work. Sorry, Ralph and Vicky.
Oh, they gonna love this.
You're welcome, Tyler.